You know that feeling when the floor drops out from under you, but you're still standing? That was me, seated at the long glass table in the executive boardroom, trying not to react as my manager, Claire Whitmore, looked the CEO dead in the eye and said, "Unfortunately, our Q2 campaign launch was delayed because Naomi's team didn't deliver the revised data set on time." Naomi. That's me. The room was silent for a beat. I felt 20 pairs of eyes slowly slide toward me. Waiting. Watching. Judging. I didn't speak. Not because I didn't have a defense. But because I already had a plan. Who I am, and who I'm not. My name is Naomi Lin. I'm the senior data strategist at Wilder & Co., a mid-sized digital marketing agency with big dreams, bigger egos, and an obsession with buzzwords like synergy and ownership. I've worked here 5 years. I've stayed late, I've met every deadline, and I've bailed more than one team out of a data crisis at 2 a.m. But I'm not flashy. I don't play politics. I don't smile and nod to nonsense. Which made me exactly the kind of person someone like Claire could throw under the bus and hope no one would notice. Meet Claire. Claire is the head of strategy. Think sharp heels, smoother lies. She presents well, says all the right things in all the right meetings. She's charming in public, dismissive in private, and terrifying when cornered. To the board, she's a visionary. To the staff, she's a hurricane dressed in pastel suits. She's also the kind of person who never takes the fall for anything. What really happened? 2 weeks ago, Claire called me into a Zoom meeting, off the record, casual tone. She wanted me to delay the final data set for the Q2 campaign. Let's just hold it for now. I'm realigning messaging with creative, and I need to reframe the ROI metrics a little. Just, give it a few days, okay? She even laughed. Don't worry, I'll cover you if anyone asks. It's just strategic. I'd heard that before. And after what happened with the March audit, when she forgot to mention she'd redirected the client's entire ad budget, I'd gotten smart. From that point on, I recorded every call with her. Legally, of course. Our state allows one-party consent. And I made sure to save that recording, dated, labeled, backed up in 3 different places. The knife in the boardroom. I didn't expect her to go that far. A little blame shifting? Sure. A vague dig about data delays? Probably. But to fully assign the campaign's failure to me, in front of the CFO, the CEO, the board chair? That was bold. And stupid. Because now, it wasn't just office gossip. It was a false statement made to executive leadership, with a clear scapegoat and a convenient fall. I didn't react. I documented. I didn't flinch. I didn't defend myself in the room. Instead, I wrote down her exact words. I waited until the meeting ended. Then I drafted a short, direct email to HR. Subject: Misrepresentation in executive meeting. Following the Q2 review today, I would like to formally document that the statement made by Ms. Whitmore regarding the delay in campaign data was inaccurate. I have supporting material, including communication and a dated recording, that clarifies the request to delay was made by Ms. Whitmore herself. Please advise on next steps. Then I clicked send. The reply from HR came faster than expected. Subject: misrepresentation in executive meeting. Naomi, thank you for bringing this to our attention. Please meet us at 3:15 p.m. today for a confidential conversation. Conference Room B. Short. Neutral. HR style. I took a deep breath, grabbed my file folder, and loaded the recording onto a secure flash drive. I wasn't going in empty-handed. The meeting. Inside the room were 2 people, Carla, HR director, and Dean, the company's legal compliance officer. Dean barely looked up from his tablet. Carla gave me the standard HR smile. Tight-lipped and cautious. Naomi, you've submitted a concern regarding a statement made during the executive review. I nodded. Yes. The claim that my team delayed the campaign is not just inaccurate, it's deliberately misleading. Claire requested that I hold the final data set. Carla adjusted her glasses. Do you have documentation to support this? Without a word, I slid the flash drive across the table. Zoom recording. Dated. Full context. Claire's voice. Her exact words requesting the delay, and assuring she'd take responsibility. Dean finally looked up. He inserted the drive. They listened to 90 seconds of the call. Claire's voice filled the room. Let's just hold the data delivery. I'm repositioning messaging. I'll cover you if anything comes up. Click. Silence. The turn in the room. Carla didn't speak right away. She just stared at the drive, then at me. Dean leaned forward. This changes the context significantly. I wanted to say no kidding, but I stayed quiet. We'll be reviewing this internally and may request a follow-up. Carla finally added, you did the right thing by documenting this. Please don't discuss this matter with anyone else until we've concluded our investigation. Of course, I replied. I don't need a public scene. I just want the truth on record. Behind the scenes. What followed was a strange stretch of limbo. Claire avoided me completely. No Slack messages. No meeting invites. Not even hallway eye contact. But others noticed. My team lead, Evan, pulled me aside that Thursday. Did you do something? He asked quietly. Claire's been twitchy. I just smiled. Not really. Just telling the truth. Quietly. The board was watching. Apparently, word reached upstairs. A week later, I got a calendar invite I never expected. Meeting with Executive Oversight Committee, review follow-up. When I walked into that room, Claire was already seated, pale, tapping a pen, visibly shaken. There were 3 board members, the CEO, Carla, and Dean. The chair, a silver-haired woman named Marianne, motioned for me to sit. Ms. Lin, thank you for joining us. As you may be aware, we've been reviewing a matter involving conflicting accounts of responsibility for the Q2 campaign delay. I nodded calmly. We've reviewed documentation provided by both parties. Yours included. She paused. And we find your account compelling. Verifiable. Claire opened her mouth, but Marianne raised a hand. Ms. Whitmore, you had ample opportunity to clarify the situation. You did not disclose your own involvement in delaying data delivery. That omission is material. Claire sat in stunned silence. What justice looks like, sometimes. They didn't fire Claire on the spot. But by the end of the day, an email went out. Claire Whitmore will be transitioning out of her role as head of strategy, effective immediately. No goodbye party. No farewell cupcakes. Just a silent chair in the corner of the strategy wing. And me? That same day, the CEO called me in and said, "You've demonstrated professionalism, integrity, and foresight. We'd like to talk about expanding your role, if you're open to it." I was. But first, I walked back to my desk, opened my laptop, and deleted the recording. Not because I needed to erase the past. But because I didn't need it anymore. A week after Claire's departure, I was offered her job. Officially, it was a temporary assignment as interim head of strategy. Unofficially, the exec team had made up their minds. They just wanted to see if I'd take it. "We recognize your ability to lead with both detail and discipline," the CEO said during our meeting. "And frankly, we need stability right now." I didn't answer right away. Because the truth was, I wasn't sure I wanted it. The ghosts she left behind. Claire's office was still intact when I stepped inside. It smelled faintly of citrus and ambition. Framed motivational quotes. An unopened bottle of Merlot with a post-it note, "Celebrate when you crush them, winky face." That told me everything I needed to know. Taking this role wouldn't just be a title change. It would mean inheriting her reputation, her fractured team, her broken systems. It meant trying to lead people who once watched in silence as she threw me under the bus. Could I really lead them now? The first meeting. I called an all-hands for the strategy department. There were about 14 of us. People shuffled in awkwardly, avoiding eye contact. Some looked nervous. Others, almost guilty. I didn't give them a pep talk. Instead, I pulled up a slide that said, "We are not starting over. We're starting honestly." Then I said this. I'm not Claire. I don't lead by intimidation, implication, or implication in private group chats. What I care about is process, clarity, and trust. If you're here to do the work, you've already got mine. The room was silent for a few seconds. Then someone clapped. And then someone else. I didn't need applause. But I did need that moment, not for my ego, but for my proof. That people wanted real leadership. Not theatrics. Maya's email. That night, I got a message from someone I didn't expect. Maya, one of the senior analysts who had once been close to Claire, and who had sat silently during the boardroom betrayal. Subject, thank you. Naomi, I should have spoken up earlier. I was afraid. And if I'm being honest, I was complicit. Watching you stay composed while she buried you, it shook me. Watching you rise afterward? That changed how I see everything. She ended with, "If you'll have me, I'd like to help rebuild." I replied with one sentence. Let's start with truth, and move from there. Redefining power. Over the next month, I made it my mission to undo the quiet damage Claire left behind. Performance review metrics were rewritten, from vague adjectives to measurable goals. Team communication rules were codified, no more secret Slack threads. Junior voices were invited to project meetings, not as a favor, but as policy. And weekly, Feedback Fridays, were introduced, anonymous, yes, but transparent and reported. And you know what? People began to lean in again. Speak up. Collaborate. Not because I made them. But because I showed them they could. The day I knew I belonged. It was a Wednesday, around 4:30 p.m. I was walking past the kitchen when I overheard two interns chatting near the coffee machine. I actually trust leadership now, one said. Feels like someone's finally listening. I didn't say anything. Just smiled quietly, walked past, and let the moment sit. Because sometimes, the best vindication isn't a title. It's not an apology. It's not even justice. It's being so good they can't deny you. 3 months after stepping in as interim head of strategy, I received an invitation I didn't see coming. Subject line. Private dinner, executive search committee. It was discreet. Just 6 people. A Michelin-starred restaurant. And a chair with my name on a gold-rimmed card. The implication was obvious. They wanted to offer me the job. Not interim. Not temporary. Permanent. Full title. Full pay. Full authority. Everything I had supposedly earned. But as I sipped my wine and listened to the CEO talk about vision and forward momentum, I felt something unexpected rising inside me. Hesitation. The cost of winning. When I first took the role, I was in survival mode. I needed to fix what Claire broke. I needed to reclaim what she tried to take. I needed people to know I wasn't just the data girl, I was someone who could lead. And I did that. But now, the dust had settled. The team was thriving. And I realized, I wasn't angry anymore. I was just tired. Not of the work, but of the politics. The side eyes. The careful wording. The chessboard meetings. And somewhere in all of it, I'd stopped doing the thing I loved most. Building strategy from the ground up. Not cleaning up after someone else. The other email. That same week, I got a LinkedIn message from an old colleague. Lena, now COO at a tech nonprofit in San Diego. We're expanding. We need someone to build our entire strategic framework from zero. No red tape. No games. Full autonomy. You were the first name that came to mind. She didn't know about the Claire saga. She just remembered what I was like before it all, back when I was energized, inventive, bold. That Naomi had been buried under months of cleanup. But she was still there. Waiting. The conversation that sealed it. I sat down with Maya the next day, now my most trusted colleague and right hand. We were reviewing Q4 projections when she glanced at me and asked. You've been quiet. Everything okay? I told her about the dinner. About Lena. About the fork in the road. She didn't try to convince me either way. She just asked. Do you want to lead this place? Or do you want to build somewhere that doesn't need fixing first? That hit hard. Because I realized, fixing is noble. But building? That's where the fire is. My last strategy memo. I wrote it with care. Subject. Sustainable culture, what comes after the crisis? It outlined everything I learned. Every policy we'd created. Every system I'd put in place. And at the end, a single paragraph. The best strategy is one that makes itself obsolete. You don't need a hero at the top. You need people who are safe enough to speak, strong enough to challenge, and supported enough to grow. If you've built that, step back. Let it breathe. Then I signed it. Naomi Lin, head of strategy, departing. The goodbye. There was no party. Just a standing ovation at the final team meeting. And a sticky note Maya left on my keyboard. You didn't just survive the fire. You redesigned the building. The new chapter. When I landed in San Diego, I walked into Lena's office, dropped my bag and grinned. Let's build something ridiculous and bold. She smiled back. Let's make sure no one ever has to play defense again.